Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, it is odd. We're not.
This isn't coffee moaning.
No.
No.
This is a Gaza update on a Sunday, which yes is our usually our day off. But as I was just saying on Instagram, we are brimming with feelings around what's going on with the hostages that were taken. What is it, about 4 days ago now in international waters by the Israeli occupying force, and what's been happening since. And we've been talking a lot about it, haven't we? And we, as we say, our news here is always the kind of the things that we're talking about around our kitchen table.
I did do coffee morning, Saturday morning yesterday. I did talk at great length and in great detail and with great kind of frustration about the conflation also of the awfulness of what happened in Manchester and the really, I think, quite sinister, petrifying, frightening connection that the government have made between a whack job, nut job, rogue, wanted rapist psycho who happened to be Muslim, and how the fact that the government have conflated that with Palestinian or peaceful protest against genocide, against the murder of people, against people who are demonstrating against the killing of people, how they've used a murderous individual and they've characterized him as, all they've done is characterize him as a Muslim killer, and so then connected it to Palestinian marches and how that's caused a climate of anti-Semitism.
So anybody
that is really concerning.
So anybody that is against the genocide, anybody that may have done a fundraiser, anybody that goes on a peaceful march, Mark and I, my family, my friends, our community, he's trying to tar us all with the same brush as a maniac, lunatic, rapist.
Well, I mean, no, he's being more sinister than that. Him and Mahmoud, the Home Secretary, are being infinitely more manipulative and sinister with that. So we're going to get to that. That's going to be our second topic, because the other piece of news that has just broken this morning, which I have to say, I've had to really walk this one out and calm myself down, because given that another over 500 demonstrators were arrested yesterday for demonstrating against the genocide with signs that said Palestine action, new laws, they're going to change the law
on whether we can protest,
on whether one can protest cumulatively. Think about that.
But he is tying that to what happened in Manchester.
He's tying it because he says,
exactly.
Well, no, what is her name? She says, she's new in the post, which is why I can't, her name isn't tripping off the tongue.
God, it will be, don't you worry.
What's the name of her? Can someone just tell us what the name of her?
What's the name of the new Home Secretary?
I am getting slightly concerned, though, that she's been put in place as a bit of a patsy myself. It's kind of like Shabana Mahmood.
I feel like that thing that has been done, like the Tories do so well, where they get somebody of an ethnicity or of a religion. They go, there you go.
Well, if they're saying it.
They're saying it. But everything she said before, since, I've been utterly disgusted with. So we're not stupid.
Lindsay,
just because she's a Muslim doesn't mean whatever she says, we're going to go, oh, okay, this is fine then.
Hang on a minute. There are also some Palestinians that are also working to progress the Zionist Israeli regime. It doesn't work like that, Labour. These are old tricks from the Conservative Tory handbook, and you think we're not seeing them or smelling them. But we want to talk about that.
Thank God for the independent journalists that have gone into the Labour conference and shown you up.
Oh my God.
My God, guys, you get really cross, don't you, if you're asked a difficult question, because somehow it's seeped into our lives that you can just go onto shows and go onto radio shows and write for really right-wing papers and just smooth everything out for yourself. Thank God for those brilliant journalists over the last few days.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about that in more detail as well. Lindsay H, me too, Mark. I was trembling.
Trembling.
That is a really...
We should be trembling. Good.
Trembling.
Good.
Is exactly what my heart did, as I unfortunately was in quite a kind of nice sort of clench with my wife, and then the story came through. I was hugging you, I was holding you, I was enjoying it.
Well, he had his phone.
And then I went, and it was a notification from the Evening Standard. And I went,
excuse me.
So
whilst you were hugging me, you were getting notifications from the Evening Standard. And the mail?
No.
Don't you ever get a notification from the mail?
I may have accidentally sent a photo of your bottom.
Mark, shut up.
Anyway, no, but we're having to lighten the tone, because otherwise I will not only tremble, I may explode.
And why are we trembling? You guys that follow us here regularly are going to be so glad that you stuck with us whilst we have been talking about ICE and Trump and what's going on there. And how many times have we said to you, when people go, but that's America, that's nothing to do. Oh, that's Palestine, that's nothing to do. Oh, do you know what? I just haven't got the bandwidth for all this. Do you know what? It's what you do in addiction, Nadia. No, keeping your eyes open ahead of time might mean, Kemi Badencock as well yesterday, might mean that we can hopefully protest enough to what they're planning
now,
for us.
Okay, well, we're going to have to really carve this up because I'm in danger here of going down such a dark place of incandescent rage, and I need not to do that.
Not rage, because they want us to be rageful. No.
Now, before we get on to now how the word that we all need to be avoiding, need to be frightened of is cumulative. It's the most spectacularly frightening administrative term, protest, cumulative.
Cumulative.
Think about that. That means if something's repeatedly going on, you can't fucking protest against it. It means if your government does nothing about it, you're not allowed to say it more than once.
Imagine that Vietnam. Imagine that for South Africa apartheid. Imagine, this is new.
Get Keir Starmer to The Hague.
You can only be protest for a certain amount of time, and then after that, it's going to get uncomfortable.
Okay, let's do this story now.
And you know what, Mark? They are so furious about the Labour Party conference where they were held accountable. They want to quash it. Who's doing that at the moment? Who's doing
Owen Jones.
Trump.
Oh, I thought you meant who's holding them accountable.
No, I said who's quashing any dissent, any questions at the moment? Trump. Labour's doing it in their own way.
Okay, let me just draw some parallels here, which is really, really frightening. All right? Conflating a whack job, nut job, lunatic, lone fucking operative with a couple of people help, even if there were people helping him, insane, unhinged. To equate that and extrapolate from that and attach it to every peaceful protest is beyond deceitful, beyond manipulative, beyond inflammatory. And I would argue, as I said on Friday, they've taken an anti-Semitic hate crime and they're using it in an Islamophobic way to control any dissent, any opposition, which is cumulative. Why is it cumulative, Keir Starmer? And Home Secretary who's
because it's very irritating because they want us to be quiet.
It's cumulative protest because Israel has carried on the genocide for 2 years.
And you haven't done anything.
And you haven't done anything. So don't blame people for repeatedly feeling the same upset, distress, concern, not just rage. There are so many other chambers of the heart.
74 people minimum were killed again yesterday, and this is the peace process in process.
And allegedly, that's Netanyahu saying, "Okay, we'll stop bombing." So 70 die when they. But we're
supposed to be totally silent now because a rogue maniac did a terrible, awful anti-Semitic thing. We're all supposed to be silent, but we are in a state of panic, Mr. Keir Starmer, because we don't think any more lives should be taken. There are hundreds of thousands of dead Palestinian bodies. There is a new acronym, only for children, only surviving child. I can never remember the acronym. Only surviving child, all family gone. That's not used in any other country. We're concerned. We're gravely concerned for those children. And each day we don't, as humanitarians, protest, stand up, say enough, try and get governments to move, try and get a shift going. There is another child, another man, another woman dead this minute, that minute, this minute, that minute. Another hospital bombed to the ground, another tower block decimated. But we're supposed to wait now, and we're not supposed to get accumulatively concerned.
Read May Edmondson.
Tell Israel to
stop their cumulative genocide.
Exactly. How are you all feeling? Let them say something. How are you feeling, guys?
Israel has a name for it, the Daya Doctrine.
I don't know that.
Jordan O'Sullivan. Hi, Jordan. Would they have stopped the march on September the 13th if there had been an attack on a mosque 2 days before?
Absolutely not.
Can I just...
But
last night. So I just curiously, last night, I saw it on Instagram, a mosque was firebombed and attacked. 2 guys went in, set fire to the front of the mosque, set fire to a car. Someone could have died.
Nothing. And you know what?
Haven't heard
and
a
you know
thing.
what? Keir Starmer has whipped up Islamophobia, because when people hear march against Palestine, what do they hear? They hear Muslim, right? So there are obviously thousands of Muslims on the marches. There are thousands of non-Muslims. There are thousands of Jews, right? So you have whipped up, and do you know what, Keir? This is where you're so stupid.
So dangerous.
You
what he's
have
done.
aided reform. You have aided and
He's done
abetted
all their dirty
reform,
work.
like you have aided and abetted the genocide. Shame on you. Labour will be 100 years before I would vote for Labour again. 100 years.
It's even more sinister than that. Let me just throw some parallels at you, okay? So in this new law, let me just read you the new law. Let's just in the spirit of balance lean into the mainstream media that are reporting this. Pro-Palestine protests face crackdown.
You see why they
as
say
police
that?
to be granted new powers. Government announces new measures day after the arrest of almost another 500 people who protested in Trafalgar Square. So they're going to be right. Police are going to be allowed to consider. We've said this before, but we'll say it again: the cumulative impact of repeated demonstrations in order to impose conditions on public processions and assemblies. It comes as Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood said repeated large-scale protests had caused considerable fear for the Jewish community. That is such an incendiary connection.
Exactly.
I cannot, and the reason I feel like I've hit a bit of a tipping point today is the fact that they're bringing in a law to curtail cumulative protest about, as thank you, mate, a cumulative genocide and a building sense of Islamophobia as much as there is a building sense of anti-Semitism. It's so fucking dangerous, this. Does anyone feel any parallels between this? Look at, just bear with me on this thought. If you take away people's hope, people's lives, their livelihood, their homes, their sense of safety, their sense of dignity, and their ability to express their political
education,
feelings,
medical care.
If you take them away, if you restrain people so much, and there was a wonderful piece, an academic was talking about this recently, who said the term terrorism is a colonial construct. It comes from, it doesn't mean you don't have terror attacks by rogue nutters. Of course you do. And it doesn't mean that things that they do aren't terrorizing for civilians. Absolutely. But in terms of understanding where the impetus comes for these kind of terror organizations or terrorist movements, or, you know, some people call them resistance groups and things like that, depending on where you come from in the world. The ANC is an example of that. None of us have a problem getting over that hump of it was prescribed a terrorist organization, the ANC, but it was also fighting for black people's freedoms. We don't have none of us struggle with that concept, right? Yeah. What happens to peoples? What happens to cultures? What happens to groups of people when you remove the oxygen for them to be able to demonstrate their feelings? You radicalize them. And what I worry about with these suggestions and these conflations that the Labour Party is doing, and if they enact this cumulative refusal to allow cumulative protest, they are going to encourage more violence, more extremity, more resentment, and then straight out of the Trump handbook, which is also straight out of the Israeli government occupying forces handbook, by giving them little, by metaphorically kettling them. So you've got kettling on the street, but you've also got the kettling of the heart, of the ambition, of the passion. If you kettle all of that, you get someone who bites back. And at the moment you bite back, they get you.
Exactly.
They characterize you as what they've always wanted you to be.
So you know what? We're more peaceful. We're more calm on the marches. We have driven them mad for 2 years.
That's what they want.
They have not managed to gaslight us into being maniacs. And every day they look more like maniacs than the day before. And the Labour Party conference, make sure you watch Owen Jones, Nova Media, all these people that did fantastic reveal of these people. They care nothing for us. They are pompous. They are rude. They are dismissive. They are self-obsessed. They are power hungry. They care nothing. Nothing. And if people say, oh yeah, Palestine's got nothing to do with me, do you not want to see how your politicians' hearts are? Yes, they've got to be practical, and but you've also got to have a heart, and you've also got to have a willingness to be questioned. And they just do not. And this is a crackdown on that. Don't question us. Stop cumulatively questioning us.
Remember that word.
And can I just say one thing? Please, please, please. there are so many Jewish groups speaking up against this actually and saying, hang on a minute, I go on this march, I do not feel unsafe. Do you know what we feel unsafe about? We feel unsafe about the genocide. So to dismiss all those feelings when people have gone, you know, month after month after month on those marches, it's because they are terrified at what is happening to a whole people, and also are smart enough to know that it won't just be happening there.
When I nearly careened,
that's what they don't want.
When I nearly careened
to
a halt and had to post something about Sheila Fogarty the other day, I was that close to calling in. And what I wanted to call in and say to her was, look, anti-Semitism and Islamophobia doesn't only function as a punch in the face, a Molotov cocktail, or an awful situation like the one in Manchester. Utterly reprehensible. Utterly reprehensible. It doesn't manifest like the guy outside the mosque in Finsbury Park. Utterly reprehensible.
Like but we won't hear anything about that.
Like the fire attack on the mosque yesterday. Haven't heard anything about that either. So you know, it's all reprehensible. But I felt like phoning in and saying, look, you just keep talking about this one. You've got this one-sidedism, you know, going on here. I felt like phoning in and saying, my wife, whose father is fully Jordanian. Are you trying to tell me he's not experiencing an Islamophobic attitude and approach to the value of who he is, what he is, and his, I just want to stick with him for a minute, and by extension, everyone he's related to, when on the media and through the mainstream media, we see a justification and sanctioning of the slaughter of his people. You can't have a global media world where we're all interconnected and then pretend that you only deal with regional stories in Manchester.
Yeah.
Actually, it's in everyone's hearts and everyone's homes. It's not just Muslim people, but let's just take Nadia's father as an example. He's watching on a daily basis his people slaughtered. And when you as a government are complicit in that, it's happening in this country. It's as immediate to him as Manchester is to the Jewish community in Manchester. And I think this constant idea that unless it's an overt and obvious violent attack, there isn't this attitude, is happening both ways. I've said it many times.
We're feeling the violence, Keir. We're feeling the violence.
And by the same spirit,
all of us,
we have to talk about both things with the same energy and effort, anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Of course, there will be people like this guy, like this nut job, who take their anti-Semitism to horrendous levels. But he's not representative of peace lovers, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Catholic, Buddhist on these marches. But to say that only when there's an overt and sort of concentrated attack, that's the only thing we listen to. Many of these people on these marches, many of the people who are of Palestinian Muslim descent and are related to many other people too, like myself, like my wife, my children are a quarter Muslim, a quarter Arabic. We feel it in this country. You can't put a fucking ring fence around the heart. They've tried in Gaza.
And then beyond that, like that wonderful woman I was telling you about that I met the other day, Alice, who came to Children Not Numbers event on her birthday and bought all her friends a ticket to that. None of them with a connection to Palestine. None of them with it. All English people that just give a shit about other human beings. I was so moved by her story. And, you know, and when you go on the marches, I mean, I think there's almost more white British people than anybody else.
Well, yeah, but the likes of Tommy Robinson are now trying to draw a distinction. I'm not going to play him because I can't bear him.
No, we can't.
Listen to this. Tommy Robinson, this tells you everything you need to know. I did mention this briefly yesterday. We are in a set of circumstances when members of the Israeli government are inviting a self-declared fascist over because he's a true British patriot. If you are aligning yourself with the likes of them, are you a fascist? That's the question. You're searching the soulful question.
He said that he's going to see the true Jews.
You know, he's going to see the Jews on these marches are elite Jews.
They're elite Jews and they're also self-hating Jews.
Self-hating Jews. And whereas he's going to the really meaningful, proper Zionist Jews,
he said.
Well, and he says Zionist. He said they're proper Jews. I would argue they're stupid Jews as well. I mean, Zionists and the Israeli government, their approach, if they are aligning themselves with the like of Tommy Robinson, it's stupidity. There's no ideology there. It's fueled by hate. It's so shocking. And I just want to flag this up. I showed this to Nadia yesterday. I've never seen Nadia's mouth before. When we, just briefly before we get to Greta Thunberg and the other members of the flotilla, when we've said, and I had to post about this yesterday, when we've said that what is happening in America, I have been reduced to tears, not because what I've seen isn't stuff I've seen before, but I can't actually believe what we're accepting.
So soon in 6 months.
Chicago is a city I adore, a city we have friends, relatives there. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh my God, what is happening?
There's no relation to what you knew, right?
There's no relationship to what I knew. Children dragged out of apartments naked, in their underwear and naked.
And then zip tied.
And so,
ICE raiding.
And so when
I think they get paid per person, don't they, as well? There's a commission based dragging people out of their beds.
So when you come on here, some people do and go, well, what does this relate? How does this relate to us?
Voila.
Kemi Badenoch, Tory party conference. Tories are to pledge to create immigration task force modelled on Trump's ICE. Now, listen to me good and proper. Listen to me good and proper.
There'll be loads of people that be dancing in the streets about it.
No, this is great news. Listen to me good and proper. If nothing's done about reform, because they're a more extreme version of this, and believe you me,
they're going to come together.
She will hold the keys to power for reform. If what Kemi Badenoch says here happens, prepare yourselves. Unless you vote very, very actively and cleverly for the Green Party now, I'm sorry, your party, I'm so worried about that. If you don't vote in your droves for anything that opposes this, you're going to have the likes of Tommy Robinson coming to my father's family's door. That's the world you could be living in.
The ICE.
It's coming. It's coming. And we
know
Labour
what they'll call it
in.
here. I wonder what it would be called here.
It's always a cheap rate version.
Glad you live in Ireland, Clodagh. Where would be the best place to move to in Ireland?
You suddenly sounded Irish.
I have a real affinity with the Irish.
Anyone else feeling these aren't extraordinary dots to connect.
No,
it doesn't. I mean, that for me, I've always wanted to feel okay. Well, here's the thing. When I evaluate risk, I'm always thinking, well, we have to pass through that door, then that door, then that door. And the more doors that you have to pass through, you think there's many opportunities here actually to avoid that. I feel like we've gone through so many doors that the dots are all connected.
And if you want to, there are so many videos about what ICE is doing.
Oh my God, look at this. Art with Rachel Kashani, Britain, this is terrifying for you. As an American nurse, I have witnessed ICE deporting my ICU patients.
Oh my God, and poor you as well.
Shilly, the next election will be a fight for our souls. The next election will be a true fight for our souls.
For this country, it will be.
It's so scary.
So, guys, other news, independent news channels to follow, American ones, so you can sort of see what's going on. Breaking Points, TYT. Follow both of them
on YouTube.
They are really, and Breaking Points.
Democracy Now.
Breaking Points. Crystal Ball. That's her actual name. Is such a smart cookie. I absolutely love her. She takes no prisoners. She's a brilliant interviewer. She mashes people up in she's just so smart. And they are very anti-genocide and anti-racism. But they cover American stuff as well. And I just think it's really interesting to watch it because these, very seasoned journalists are in shock. Midas Touch is another one. Midas Touch goes sometimes it's a little bit too sensationalist.
Totally ignore the bulwark.
Totally.
We liked them, but
we are off them.
I've never known a channel circumnavigate.
How you cannot mention the genocide at all.
And the irony, the biggest irony here as well, I would recommend, especially around issues in the Middle East and Israel, very much through an American lens, Tucker Carlson. He's doing some incredible, regardless of what you think of his other opinions, he's creating remarkable content. I
know we say this a lot, but it's really important for the future of the world that we listen to other people that we don't agree with as well, because otherwise we're all in an echo chamber. And that's why we've got the division that we've got. Yes, loads what Tucker Carlson says we abhor, but on some. He's a very smart guy as well.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that brain of his. Anyway,
we're going to move on quickly. I just want MeTube. I am going to review the last 2 episodes of this. MeTube, thank you for bringing it to a cinematic aspect. There are much bigger picture things happening that if you're not in the tech space, you won't be aware. If you've seen Alien Earth, which I have, that is the future they want. Corporations in place of government. Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. Okay, we're going to talk
about children and our children's children.
It's really, and just finally on this, Keir Starmer and Shabana Mahmood have behaved in the most, I would say, irresponsible fashion this week I have ever known.
They are whipping up hate and therefore playing into reforms.
When he stands there and dismisses people in Parliament as engaging in student politics,
just like Sheila Fogarty did. They go out with their sweatshirts and they're like,
but this is the most simplistic student politics I've ever come across. You have not got a scintilla of understanding for the complexity of what you've just
done.
You've unleashed
clustered
absolute hell in what they've done this week. They really have.
You've really fueled Islamophobia.
Taken a tragedy for the Manchester.
You've fueled anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Wow, clever you. Are you doing it on purpose? I don't know. Kind of feels like you might. Are you wanting to put the troops out too, like your friend Mr. Trump?
Yes,
guys, watch the interview with Hugh Grant.
I need to see
that he did with ITV News. It's so good.
I just want to quickly just say we are an independent news outlet too, by accident. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You will be notified when we go live. You will see we feel passionate about these things. We are not blind to the mainstream media. You have to stay plugged in.
But by doing that, by hitting the subscribe button, you get this video to go out. We always say we don't do copyright or anything on these videos. You want to screen record them, you want to tape them, whatever. It's about getting different opinions out. Not only us, but all of our different independent news channels. Have a look at Nova Media. Very, very good. Yeah.
Okay, so lots of outlets, well, not lots, but some outlets are reporting that Greta Thunberg has been mistreated by Israeli forces in detention. Activists have described mistreatment after Israel intercepted the Gaza aid flotilla. And I'd like to...
Right, hang on. Can we change that word?
Yeah.
Intercepted.
Well, yeah.
Intercepted took hostage hundreds of humanitarians from 44 different countries who were trying to open a humanitarian corridor to get food and medicine into a starving people. And due to a man-made famine, man-made by the IOF. And anyone that disagrees with them trying to do that was totally legal, they were in legal waters, is pro-starvation. Yeah. So I just want to say that there's no grey area here. You're pro-starvation if you're anti these guys.
Yeah, so Israel have been accused of detaining Greta Thunberg in an infested cell and making her hold flags. In some accounts, we've heard that she's been made to crawl across the floor and kiss a flag. She's been starved. The Swedish embassy and a Swedish legal team have met with her. I do just want to lead this story just briefly. Thank you, Noor. That's very kind of you.
Just gifted a membership.
I just want to play a clip in a moment. Yeah, go for it.
But with her, thank you so much, honey. With her, you know, she's also autistic.
Is she?
So when I think of my friends that are autistic, that need a certain kind of order. Not, of course, every single autistic person is different, but the overwhelmingness of the noise of the I imagine it's tenfold. And if anybody here is autistic or has an autistic child and want to add anything to that, and why am I saying that? Not for sympathy, because she never wears it like that,
no.
But her bravery is beyond anything any of us have got in our fucking smallest toenail, you know, and horrible men like Piers Morgan and the like that dismiss her as nothing.
Yes.
You would not be able to take 1 minute of what they're doing to her in Israel. And apparently she was put into a cell and then Ben Gvir marched in afterwards.
Yeah, but listen,
can you imagine?
What I find so funny about the like of Piers Morgan and so many people, it comes under Nadia's and mine all the time. If you so care about Gaza, why don't you go to Gaza? So here's a young woman who has the bravery that I don't have.
I don't have that bravery.
No,
simple.
And literally, you know, the kids would, I just couldn't, I mean, maybe if I was just on my own, but she has the bravery to do as the trolls and Piers Morgan and the like say. So she goes, and then they all go, oh, what do we do with her? She's gone. Oh, well,
we just ignore it.
They just
we'll
ignore
just
it.
ignore it.
We'll characterize her as a kind of self-publicizing. She's got nothing to publicize. What is she publicizing? Her bucket
She's
hats.
publicizing
Exactly
the genocide and the therefore ecocide, because the amount of bombs that have been dropped onto Gaza has affected the planet deeply. But guys, what we mustn't forget also is there are hundreds of others as well that are still in prison.
Absolutely. There's 320 odd that are in. I just want to play this clip because this is the clip that kind of, it's one of the Turkish flotilla members landing, I think, in Turkey. It's subtitled, so if you're listening on podcast, apologies unless you speak, I think it is Turkish. This is in Istanbul. He comments on what he saw with Greta.
İşkence yaptılar. Evet, Greta'ya zulmettiler. Küçücük çocuk da Greta. Onu süründürdüler. İsrail bayrağını öptürdüler. Yani Naziler ne yaptıysa aynısını yaptılar. Ve onu orta bir yerde sergilediler.
That God only knows what that actually means. God only knows. What do they mean? Displayed her in a public place. Now, of course, we're all going to be waiting to hear what Greta and everyone has to say themselves.
But Greta is always very mindful to not talk much about what goes on with her, because she knows how she's immediately picked on as wanting attention. Damn you, anyone that says that about this woman. My God.
An Israeli publication, because of course we're very limited in what news we can get out of Israel other than what comes out of the Israeli press. So Israel Hayom say that the Swedish legal team is preparing an ICC fight over Greta's imprisonment. Good. Legal counsel Sena Elekuchuk claims Israel are mistreating all flotilla detainees.
And they've been taken hostage.
And they may escalate the case.
They haven't done anything illegal.
And they may escalate this case to the World Tribunal. Not surprisingly, Israel dismisses claims that Thunberg is being tortured.
But do they dismiss claims that they took them hostage from their boat?
Yeah. Because
apparently the guy from Nova Media was saying when they got there, they made them put on prison clothes. Yes. When they got to Turkey, they gave them clothes. They shouldn't have been in prisoners' clothes. They haven't done anything. They haven't broken the law.
Yeah,
this is what is not on any of the headlines.
No.
Illegally taken.
Yeah.
It sounds like lots of people that are engaged in this, because don't forget, the mainstream media don't want to talk about it. The greatest story. I mean, it's an incredible story in so many different ways.
Yeah.
In the terror of it, in the heroism of it. It's an amazing story. Any journalist that's not interested in this, it's like, you're not a storyteller. You're not a journalist, as far as I'm concerned. But that nothing is mentioned in any of these headlines. So if you weren't engaged in any way, you would think, oh, they're getting their comeuppance. They shouldn't have gone to Israel. Well, they didn't go to Israel. They were taken hostage and taken into Israel.
I think what they bank on is people going, well, what did you expect? That's what they kind of bank on, people thinking, what did you expect?
Guys, please hit the subscribe button, because the amount of times that we're saying Israel and we're saying all this algorithm is going to shift it so it doesn't get out.
I just also want to say as well, I only briefly mentioned it yesterday, but does anyone, with the flotilla, we've also got testimony from a woman who's speaking on behalf of I believe maybe Australian Syrian or Australian Arab flotilla member. Let me play that next, because it's not just Greta who's being mistreated. You saw the footage I showed yesterday of Ben Gvir doing his bad Gordon Ramsay impersonation in front of the flotilla hostages. They're hostages. They've been taken hostage.
Hostages is no other way to describe
And just
them.
briefly, someone else did mention there is another flotilla of other boats. I believe it's set off from Turkey that is en route, and we mustn't forget that. We must keep across that.
Yes.
You know, there are going to be many more potential attempts to get into Gaza. There was also a case, I don't know if you saw it yesterday, of a young Israeli guy who had refused his draft into the army, and he broke the perimeter fence and got through. He wanted to get in there to publicize, to help, and of course was immediately clamped down, arrested, taken off, God only knows why. This is the so-called democracy. This is the democracy in the Middle East. Yes, democracy.
One of them was saying that there was somebody, because they weren't allowed any of the medication either, and they really believe one of their team was having a heart attack.
Yes, I saw
and
that.
Nothing was done. They didn't get. So they said we're getting a millionth of what the Palestinians get. 10,000 hostages have been taken by Israel since October the 7th,
and that was the point.
And are rotting in these kinds of prisons. So they're still getting VIP service in these prisons. So just imagine.
I wanted to say repeatedly, every single person who has complained aren't complaining. They are saying this is a microcosm. Imagine what they're doing to the Palestinians.
Exactly. They're not going, poor me.
Yeah. And also, just quickly, I just want to connect this thought to the, Toby Robinson idea of the elite. It strikes me that don't be drawn into this false definition of the elite. we're getting to a place, guys, in what is becoming an increasingly barbaric country, culture, approach to life, where to have one thought and then a second thought
not allowed
is elite.
No,
that is considered elite. Oh, also, if you have one thought and then you have the same thought again, it's called cumulative.
Or you had one thought,
wow,
and then listen to other perspectives,
and then were
fascinated by that, and then adjusted, and then what's that? Oh,
elite.
That's elite on crack.
That's such high elitism that you're stretching beyond the fucking envelope of what it means to be a human. It's like I said yesterday. I think this government needs to understand we can hold all of our heart. We can hold our hearts for the Jewish community. We can also hold our hearts for the people who are marching on behalf of stopping a genocide. We can even, God forbid, this sounds awful, we can hold our hearts for those two things and water the plants, because we're human.
Amazing.
We're humans.
And probably change a nappy and answer a phone call.
We can multitask, Labour. Fiona Hennessy, illegally abducted from international waters, illegally arrested from Trafalgar Square. Not an incredible leap.
And I'm loving what seems to be building here. When the Palestine action, did everybody see the blind guy being taken off by four? Yes. What's building here is people standing with placards saying, I am pro-genocide, as somebody is being taken off for being anti-genocide, and the pro-genocide, because they're being clever, they're obviously all anti-genocide, but they're doing it to illustrate how they're not being arrested. It's so clever. It's so clever. I don't know how Keir's going to stop that one, but he will.
Yeah, I was trying to get
He's not a socialist, he's a political.
Oh, it's coming in now. I've got this great clip, actually, just going back. We are going to have to stop soon. Whilst this clip comes in.
Yes, they did. They were all on their hands and knees for 5 hours with zip ties.
Yeah.
And they had been taken hostage.
And Tiago is on a, the Brazilian activist. He's on a thirst strike.
I'm really worried,
protesting that his cellmates need to receive their medical attention. I don't think they care, Tiago.
Man.
I mean,
I'm really worried he's going to.
Yeah. I just want to play this. This is an Australian. We haven't got much longer. Piano Man. That's incrably kind of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's very kind. Thanks for supporting a channel like this.
Thank you. Thank you. That's so kind.
I want to play this clip. This is a woman speaking on behalf of, as I said a minute ago. I teed it up and then I went off on one. So apologies.
The report from DFAT pertaining to the treatment of Surya McEwen as he is being held illegally by Israel. The report states that upon the vessel, as he was being arrested, the soldiers tore up his passport in front of him. When they arrived at Ashdod port, the treatment became significantly more brutal. In addition to having his head slammed against the concrete ground, he had his shoulder dislocated and was repeatedly slapped. When Surya was taken to the prison, he was kept separately from the other prisoners for reasons unknown to us. And the report states that he has been subjected to degrading and humiliating treatment from Israeli prison guards and soldiers. He has been the subject of sleep deprivation techniques, and as a result, he has not slept for 3 days since his arrest. The water that has been provided to him has been labelled as undrinkable, and the physical intimidation is ongoing. Surya's family and the family of all the participants from all over the world are demanding our leaders across the world to do something. There are numerous international laws that are being broken with this treatment and numerous grounds on which they can act. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman or Degrading Treatment of Punishment, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the Geneva Convention 3, Treatment of Prisoners, the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations. There are numerous grounds, and it is long past due that they act on them. Free Palestine and sanction Israel.
Hang on a minute. Our Prime Minister's isn't he a human rights lawyer? Oh, so he'd know all those organisations.
Oh, he knows them inside out. He knows them inside out.
Thank you, Becca. Very kind of you. Every accusation from Zionists is a confession. Wow. If this is what they're doing to the Flotilla crew members, imagine what's happening to those 10,000 hostages.
Single one of
Palestinian
them has said,
hostages.
This is nothing compared. But here we are again with Israel parading their impunity. Look at all those, international safeguards that have been respected for decades now.
They've gone.
I wanted to cry as I saw them because I thought, can't use that, can't use that, can't use that, can't use that.
And they've all gone in America. And fucking Kemi Badenoch is wanted to bring them all in here. We are watching every single rule and guardrail introduced subsequent to World War II destroyed.
Nothing on mainstream media in Sweden.
No.
Chris, really?
That's astonishing.
In Sweden.
Astonishing.
But she's your megastar.
I just want to upload.
She is your
megastar,
megastar, Greta Thunberg. God, she is. She really is. Do you know what? I think actually what Israel have done here is very stupid.
I hope so.
Because she's incredibly brave, and they've made her an icon, an even further icon. We have to, please, guys, promote her as much as you can. Put her photo around. Use her as the poster girl for their brutality.
Mitchub, I need to sit with you and you need to encourage me that we can think like this. Badenoch strategy is really dumb. Majority of UK hates Trumpism.
Mitchub, please.
I'm going to play a clip that wouldn't come in earlier.
Mitchub, pinhole of light. Pinhole of light.
I just want to play this clip. It relates to the Palestine Action March, but watch this clip. Listen to the policewoman right at the front of it. Listen to this brilliant man. And it gave me an idea based on your idea yesterday, which is maybe we should all march with the sign that this guy has. I
love this so much.
Check this. Do you know this? So just 1 second. Just literally, it wouldn't send earlier.
That's the difference between being a terrorist and not being a terrorist. One letter.
So I completely.
About 8 policemen came and they read me my rights that I'm being arrested under the Terrorism Act, and they were about to take me away. So I sat on the floor, and whilst they were bending down to pick me up, one of them noticed that it does not say, but it says something else. And then they had to let me go. No, this was just a few minutes ago.
Oh, wow. Never mind. You're lucky we're doing this.
I'm not lucky, I'm sensible.
Isn't he wonderful? I just wanted to show
But I
that.
love this. I am pro-genocide. Stand next to someone with I am anti thing with I'm pro-genocide, because you don't get arrested if you're pro-genocide in this country.
If you go up to the police on these marches and says, I'm pro the killing of children and innocent people.
There's a guy who did
genocide.
a whole video on this from Nova Media. Was he Nova Media?
Green
No, he's
Peace.
Palestine Solidarity. He went round saying, I am pro the bombing of hospitals, the killing of children, and genocide. Are you going to arrest me? And the policeman said, no, it's free country, free speech.
Freedom of speech.
Say whatever you like over there.
Freedom of
Whilst
speech.
over there, they were arresting people saying, I am anti-genocide.
So why doesn't everyone go to Parliament Square with a plasticine action? Because everyone knows what it means.
It's just unbelievable.
Are we literally now criminalizing people based on letters and consonants? This is like an episode of Countdown.
But to be fair, okay, like we've had a bit of a giggle with that, but to be fair, that's what the police have to do. It's to the letter. So it's Palestine Action because they are now a prescribed terrorist group, and plasticine isn't.
And a genocide is illegal, though.
A genocide is illegal, and it has been determined as a genocide by genocide scholars from across the world, 600, I think, and the United Nations.
But even forgetting the diagnosis of whether you agree or don't agree on whether there's a genocide in Gaza, if you walk the street saying, I support genocide, isn't that illegal?
Apparently not.
Wow.
Also, it's okay to say, I support bombing hospitals and children, because he said that to the policeman as well. And the policeman went, go ahead, go on, fill your boots.
How bizarre.
It's your freedom of speech here. It's total
Utterly
freedom
bizarre.
of speech.
Utterly bizarre. All right, guys.
We love you.
Yeah,
thank you for being here with us.
But I'm not engaging in hyperbole when I say really the rubric has really changed this week. This government has done something deeply irresponsible in the wake of a really catastrophic tragedy. It's just awful.
Yes. Thanks, guys. And as ever, please hit the subscribe button, the like button, which is weird, isn't it? When we're talking about such horrible things. But again, we are having the fight with the algorithm. So thank you.
Take care, guys.